In my opinion, the task of the dungeon master is not to withhold information from the party, but to share information with the party. I think it's more fun for the party to prepare for a challenge they know than be surprised by something they had no idea about. So what are some methods to share information about the monsters? This is based on my D&D supplement, the Baatezu in the details make believable dungeons. First of all, remember that the characters are way more knowledgeable about the monsters and the setting than the players. They live their entire life in that fictional world and they are the top experts around. Level 1 fighter will always know way better about fighting these monsters than any of the players. Or spellcasters will have way more arcane knowledge than any existing human being in the world, actually. So you can always use the excuse that the character have always known this information to share information, to explain things that you want the players to know. Now, in the safe, civilized society, the wise people, the spellcasters, they have vast libraries about the world, including the monsters. So there are ways to find this information. Now, they don't have internet, of course, so the information isn't as readily available as in our world would be, but there are ways to get into these libraries and read the books that are written about these monsters. So this is a way to share general, very general information about monsters, which might not be applicable for their current situation, but you might be able to share, for example, the information in the monster manual that probably the players might have already read anyway. Now, if you want to share more location-specific information, let's not forget that the monsters really like to raid civilians. So the average people of the city, town, tribe, etc. might have met these monsters when they got raided. There are two ways to share highly specific information about the monsters. One is through survivors. Now, survivors aren't just people whose farm got raided. Survivors are people who met a monster and maybe even fought the monster. So they might share information specific to one or more monsters present in the dungeon. I personally would gate this information behind social interaction, maybe some skill checks, because I don't think survivors like to talk about their trauma. This might be a good way to reward players who investigate in the safe area about the monsters. Another way to share highly specific information about the monsters in the dungeon is through friendly monsters in the dungeon. So you can place a friendly monster in the dungeon among the other monsters. And when the party meets that friendly monster, then that monster will gladly share anything they know. Now, I suggest that the friendly monster should be very forthcoming, because it's already difficult for the party to find the friendly monster, to get to the friendly monster. They are in a dungeon. A dungeon is dangerous. They had to find their way through to get to the friendly monster. So the friendly monster should initiate the interaction, telling them that, hey, I know this thing. The monster might ask something in exchange for the information, but they should initiate the interaction, I think. For example, Flump would love to share everything about all the psionic monsters in the dungeon. If you want more help seeding information about monsters in the dungeon, check out my D&D supplement, the Baatezu in the details make believable dungeons. Search Baatezu at the DM's Guild or go to algi.hu/Baatezu. That's algi.hu/Baatezu.